What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to show you my favorite Albie fly. It's a fly that I've been using for the past few years that's worked really well for me. It's essentially just a version of a surf candy. So hopefully this video shows you how to tie these and you can get out there and catch some false albacore on a fly that you tie. So let's get into it. Alright people, the super quick and easy surf candy. We're going to start with a number 2 Umpqua all-around saltwater hook, I believe is what this is. I don't have the packaging anymore, but any number 2 hook should be fine as long as it's got some metal on it. You don't want to go too thin just to decrease the risk of it getting bent out. We're going to do all white, so I'm going to do white thread. We're going to use white bucktail, and you'll see the rest as we go along. But just going to start with some white thread, do this a quick thread base here, and we'll work it back just to about the point of the hook there. Take my scissors and snip off that tag end, and I'll work it back towards the front of the hook. And I'll stop a little bit short of the eye of the hook there. Stop right about there. I'm going to take some of this white bucktail and snip off a little bit of it. Looks pretty good right about there. And I'll take this clump of bucktail that I cut off, and I'll just cut a straight line down the edge just so you have a nice clean edge to work with. Perfect. Then do a couple loose wraps just to get it where I want it. And then once I feel like I got it where I want it, I will tighten up those thread wraps and really lock it in place. Got my hair stuck in there. There we go. Perfect. And then I'll grab this clump of bucktail here and pinch it in between my fingers and just hold it up at a little bit of an angle and wrap it back to that hook point again. And holding it in this clump and up at an angle really kind of just helps keep it stay on top of the hook. That looks pretty good. We'll work it back to the front. Build up a little more thread there. Looks good. Go ahead, whip finish this right at the end. Perfect. Next step, I'll take some of these small 3D eyes and put them on either side of the hook. You can definitely use bigger than this, especially if you're using like a body tubing on this fly, but because this one's pretty slim, we're going to use these small eyes. And just stick one on either side. You can probably hear all the cars going by. I tie flies in my garage, so get to hear a lot of the traffic going by. I'll check it from the front. Looks pretty good, pretty even. Though it needs to come down a little bit. Awesome. Then I'll just take some of this thick UV glue. I think the thick is better for building up the body. If you really want to get fancy with it, once you're done using the thick, you can switch to the thin and really even out the body, but I usually just stick to the thick stuff for the whole fly. But I'll do one line of glue there on the top, one line of glue there on the bottom, and then on the sides and over the eyes on either side. That looks pretty good. I might add a little bit here. And then I'll spin this vise pretty slowly to try and even out this glue as much as possible. And then once I kind of got it where I want it, I'll start spinning it a little bit faster, which will kind of help keep all that glue in place. That looks pretty good right there. And I'll zap it with this UV light to make it stick in place. Perfect. Next, we are going to grab this bucktail, turn the fly over on its side, grab the bucktail, and just do a little line of glue from the back bend of the hook. You want to go a little bit past that and just dab some glue all the way up to where you ended the glue on the first portion. And we'll zap that in place. Then we'll repeat this step on the other side as well as the top. And that'll kind of help keep this bucktail in place and keep it from fouling up. Just overall, I think it kind of helps build the body of the fly a little bit better. Looks good. So we'll do the other side now. Starting to run out of glue. Looks good. Then we'll just do this top portion. Perfect. So you could fish the fly like this and it would do just fine. I like to build out the body a little bit more with some of this glue. So we're going to try and do that, and then we're pretty much done with it. We might kind of shape the tail for the end of the fly here at the end of the video. But for now we're just going to try and build out this body a little bit. Just dabbing glue kind of wherever I feel like it could use a little more volume. Once you really get the hang of it, you can dab the glue. You can dab the glue and spin at the same time. That glue is wanting to congregate towards the head. That's alright. We'll just add a little more. Looks pretty good. Add a little more here on the tail, just to try and even it out if we can. So that looks pretty good. So now, this is just a little long in my opinion. I would usually do this, take the fly out of the vise and do it in my hands, but for the sake of the video, we're gonna try and do this while it's still in the vise. But I'll just take my scissors at an angle and just try and make this as close to like a candle wick shape as possible. I'd say that looks pretty good. So that's it. That's a really easy surf candy you can tie. Works really good for false albacore, like I said. I've even actually used these for redfish in the winter when the water's really clear. They're feeding on really small bait fish like fry, and you want something that lands softly. This is a great fly to try as well. It doesn't work all the time for redfish, but definitely had it where it's been a day saver for sure when the redfish have been a little bit hard to get to eat. But for the most part, it's a really good false albacore fly, and hope you guys get out there and try it. And if you do, let me know. If you have any questions or suggestions or whatever, just let me know. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Would love to hear what you guys think. Thanks.